Now see if you can bring your mindfulness to the breath once again. And this time, since the body and mind is relaxed, it's easy to maintain mindfulness of the breathing process. As you're breathing in and out, it's easy to be present with the breath. Obwongo bw'engeri gye bukakkanye n'omubiri kati ddayo ku mukka ng'osoomoka ogenda munda ofulume ebweru. Kati kino kiba kyanguwako nnyo okulaba nga ofumiitiriza ng'omukka gugenda ne gukomawo. Kwega obwongo bwo bukakkamu n'omubiri gwo guba gukakkamu. Now, as you pay mindfulness attention to the breath, many things are going to arise. Let's say thoughts of the past, present, future, emotions, feelings. See if you can open your awareness to embrace everything that arises in the body and mind. So meditation helps us to open it softly to embrace everything that happens in our life, whether it's joy, sorrows, unhappiness, happiness. We all embrace it so that we can live a better life. Atupamaya sabbe sam satanam suko kamato pasitwa kamato metta sabbasate subhavai. Having seen that all beings like oneself have a desire for happiness, one methodically develops loving kindness for all beings. Ng'omuntu yenna amaze okulaba nga abantu bonna baagala emirembe n'essanyu, twegaliza emirembe n'essanyu n'okubonaabona kubeewo n'ebireeta okubonaabona. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Now, we finished this ceremony, but I would like to talk about what does it mean, this ceremony. What does it mean? I don't see this clock very well. What's the time? Huh? Okay, 45. Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to talk about Vesak Day. Its meaning, significance, and why do we do this? Most people wonder, why are we doing this? And I'm going to talk about the theme of compassion in times of crisis, Buddhist practices that can heal our community. That's the theme of this today, Vesak Day celebration. But first I want to talk about what is Vesak Day. Vesak Day, it's a very important day in the Buddhist world. It celebrates, by the way, the word Vesak means it's in Pali language, again, a language which originates from India. So Vesak Day, it's a day whereby we celebrate 3 events in one. 3 events in one. We celebrate the birth of the Lord Buddha, born in currently what's called Lumbini. Back then, it was not be called Nepal, but later on it's called Nepal. That's where the Buddha was born, in a place called Lumbini. He was born in May, full moon day. Now, we celebrate it today, because today is 15th of May. Now, when the Buddha got enlightened, he got enlightened in a place called Buddha Gaya. Buddha Gaya, in a state which is called Vihara. Vihara is a Pali word, means dwelling, temple. And that place where the Buddha was born, there started many temples. There were many temples already, maybe Jainism, Hindu temples. So the place is called, that time is called Vihara. That means many temples. Now later on, they call it Bihara. B and V is interchangeable. Bihara, Vihara. So the Buddha happened to be to attain enlightenment in that particular place in Burgaya, in a state called Bihara. So we celebrate his day of enlightenment today. Again, it was full moon of May, on 15th today. Now, also the Buddha passed away in a place called Kushinara, again in northern India. So we celebrate that day. So we celebrate 3 in 1. It's maybe an equivalent in Christianity, celebrating Easter and Christmas at the same time. But for us, there's even a third event we celebrate. It's very important to note that Buddha was born under a tree. He got enlightened under the tree. We happen to have the tree where the Buddha attained enlightenment. It's called the Bodhi tree. It's in front there. It's called Bodhi tree. Ficus religiosa in Latin. That's where he attained enlightenment, found enlightenment. Now, we have also, of course that was under the tree, but also when he passed away into parinibbana, means the final passing out of the Buddha, is called Mahaparinibbana, he actually passed away under the tree. That's why in Buddhism, we preserve many trees. We plant many trees. Last time we planted 50 moringa trees, and we are going to have a workshop on about how to plant moringa. Moringa trees, and other trees also we plant. So that's very important to note, that he got enlightened under the tree. Now, when he was born, Buddha to be, when he was born, Siddhartha Gautama, that's his name. Siddhartha, accomplished one. Siddhartha means accomplished one. When he was born, of course, there's some mysteries around his birth, and which we are not going to go into that. There was an elephant that appeared to the mother, and now that's more legends and mysteries. But let's talk exactly what the Buddha did. When he was born, Buddha to be, he raised his hand like this. He raised his hand like this and walked 7 steps in front. And he said, "This is my last birth. I'm supreme in the world." I'm what? Supreme in the world. And this is my last birth. I'm not going to be born again into suffering. That's the baby Buddha now you're seeing. You see the hand being raised like this with one hand? Means this is my last birth. I'm not going to be born again. And that time he was not yet the Buddha. He was the Buddha to be. And he perfected his teachings called Dhamma. He perfected it in his time. And of course, before that, he didn't know how to attain enlightenment. He went to different teachers. 2 teachers he went to, learning how to overcome suffering. And now he was not satisfied with those teachers. And now he himself cultivated his mind until he got enlightenment, and that's what we call Dhamma. He followed the Dhamma, and then he actually attained enlightenment. And once he attained enlightenment, he actually, this was under the Bodhi tree. And now he said, when he attained enlightenment, that I've overcome suffering, I've dismantled the craving, ignorance, and all mental states, and I've been seeking the way out of suffering and not finding it. But finally, I've found the way out of suffering. So now, that which led to his enlightenment. As soon as he attained enlightenment, of course, he stayed in that bliss. And now, long story short, he wanted to teach this teaching that he he found out that led him to enlightenment. But he said, no, this is going to be very difficult to teach people who are still having a lot of dust. They won't see the Dhamma. Until Brahma Samapati appeared before him and said, no, I know some people who actually could understand your teaching. And those were the first disciples of the Buddha, 5 of them. And they were found in a place called Vanarasi. Or Banarasi. I told you B and V is interchangeable in India. So then this kind of the Brahma, heavenly being, appeared to the Buddha and said, you know, don't hesitate to teach people. They will understand your teaching, and I know those who are the immediate people who are going to understand what you're teaching. There are 5 of them in Varanasi in India. So the Buddha went and taught them exactly what he found in enlightenment. And what he went to teach them is called the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path. It has 8 states of mind, and that became the symbol of Buddhism. If you look at this temple, there is something round like this. And it's just in front of the temple, and it has 8 spokes. It has 8 spokes. So now this is what the Buddha taught. He taught right understanding of suffering, cause of suffering, happiness, and the way to happiness. Just exactly what the doctor do. What the doctor do, in fact, doctors have some understanding. When you go there when you're sick, they ask you, what's the problem? So they diagnose the problem, they find out the pathology. By the way, I'm not going to translate it in Uganda. I think I would take a lot of time to translate it in Uganda. Unless the news reporter wants me to translate in Uganda, I'll just keep going, and I'll summarize it in Uganda later on. So now, right understanding is the first step according to Buddha. Just like, of course, he grew up in India, where we have Ayurvedic doctors. In India, already there were doctors called Ayurvedic doctors. So there were people who knew about medicine. And those people knew that whenever you are treating somebody, you must diagnose, you must find the problem, and also find the cause, etiology. You lay out the etiology, the cause, the origin of the problem, the disease. And also, you don't stop there, you lay out the prognosis. That means the cure. You have to assure the people about the cure, that you are going to be cured. And now you have to describe you have to describe them how they are going to take the medicine. In that process, you do what you call prescription. This prescription that the Buddha gave is called the Noble Eightfold Path. So that's the first step, called right understanding. Second step is called right thoughts. These are thoughts of generosity. The opposite of generosity is non-greed. Thoughts of loving kindness. The opposite of loving kindness is hatred. And thoughts of compassion. And today's theme is about compassion in terms of crisis. We are going to come back to that. So now, this is what we call right thoughts. It has 3 components, right? 3 components: generosity, loving kindness, and compassion. So he went again and taught what we call right speech. Right speech is speak the truth, speak what's harmonious, speak with kindness, speak what's meaningful. So Buddha knew that people suffer a lot when they tell lies. So he told that abstain from lying, abstain from harsh speech, abstain from divisive speech, abstain from meaningless speech, because that's what was leading suffering. So the way to happiness is what we call right speech. Now he went on to teach the 4th part of the Noble Eightfold Path. I told you there are 8 spokes. So he taught right action. Action, that means you abstain from killing living beings, you abstain from stealing, you abstain from sexual misconduct. The positive side of this is having loving kindness and compassion towards living beings. When it comes to the second part of the action, is abstain from stealing. What you do, you should have generosity. You have to practice generosity, giving things. And that's the practice we Buddhists follow also. And also abstain from sexual misconduct. This means calming your senses. Don't misuse your senses, like doing this kind of practices like incest and raping and all this kind of thing. So this was part of what the Buddha taught, what we call right action. So we have right understanding, right thoughts, right speech, and right action. So we continue on, again, Buddha teaching, right effort. Right livelihood. According to the Buddha, we should live and let others live. In other words, we should live in harmony with others. We should not trade poison, weapons, slavery, trading in meat, raising meat for killing. We should not really sell alcohol because it leads to confusion. These are 5 traits that the Buddha says you should keep away if you're a Buddhist. And if you're not a Buddhist, that's a different thing. But if you really confess or call yourself a Buddhist, you should abstain from those kind of traits that are actually leads to disharmony, that leads to suffering. Then he taught right efforts. Efforts to overcome evil states of mind, efforts to prevent evil states of mind. We should also cultivate efforts to develop and maintain states of mind like generosity, loving kindness, and compassion. So then he went on teaching what we call right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is what is popular, meditation. But all over those states of mind actually are meditation in themselves, but most people know only mindfulness because we tell them, please close your eyes and then breathe in, breathe out, be mindful. But actually, even in that practice, we must have right understanding. We must have right thoughts. We must have right speech. We should have right action. So right mindfulness is very popular in the West, but that's one kind of meditation out of the many. So that being mindful of the present moment, to be mindful of your body, your feelings, your mind states, and your mental objects. In other words, anything else apart from the body, feelings, and mind states. And finally, the Buddha talked about right concentration. You focus your mind. You stay focused. Concentrate. So now the enlightenment. And all of them, they had reached the first level of enlightenment. But they were not fully enlightened. The Buddha had to teach more. Give them a booster dose to make sure that they get enlightened like him. So we celebrate that day that the Buddha taught, the Noble Eightfold Path. The first discourse the Buddha taught is the Noble Eightfold Path. And now finally he passed away. And when he passed away in Kushinala at the age of 80, he said, this is his last word, all conditioned things are impermanent. All conditioned things are transient. Therefore, strive with diligence. So in other words, he was teaching us that everything in the world is impermanent. But don't be complacent. Strive on with diligence. Use your efforts to make sure that you overcome suffering. Make sure that you cultivate the path, the way to happiness. And that's what we do here at the Uganda Buddhist Center. With all our centers, we have other centers, satellite centers, we created with Dr. Juko, who's sitting there. We all actually, Dr. Juko can raise your hand. Yeah, so that's Dr. Juko. We have created centers for meditation to tell people they overcome suffering and its causes and cultivate happiness. So now, this is by way of telling you why we do this pouring of water. Water is a symbol of purity. And also water for us, it symbolises overcoming thirst. Craving being thirst, craving is thirst. And when you are thirsty, you take water, isn't it? So for us, water is seen as purifying. So we pour water to the baby Buddha out of gratitude that he was born, and we follow his teaching when he became enlightened. At that time, he was not fully enlightened, but actually, we bathe the Buddha is very traditional. We put the flowers to remind us of the impermanence nature of life. Actually, flowers, when they stay there for a while, they start to wither, right? So, flowers symbolizes the impermanence nature of life. There are certain things we have here on the altar, like the light. You see both lights there? They signify wisdom, because when you light a candle, it dispels darkness. And it brings light, light being wisdom. Thing you will see here, like this is a Buddhist flag. This is a Buddhist flag, was actually founded in India. No, sorry, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, that's the first time they found they composed and a Buddhist flag. That's a Buddhist flag. Wherever you see this flag, you know that is a Buddhist flag. And now, you see the Buddha statue. Buddha statue is not the symbol of Buddhism. Buddha statue is not the symbol of Buddhism. Actually, when the Buddha found his teaching, in the beginning was the Noble Eightfold Path. Later on, some travelers from Greece, they came with statues from the Christian tradition. And they landed in India, Alexander the Great. The Greek influence in India really had a big impact on Indian culture. So they started making the Buddha statue. So the Buddha statue is a symbol of enlightenment, peace, and happiness. Whenever we look at the Buddha statue, it reminds us of the capacity, human capacity to attain enlightenment. So that's, of course, the symbol of Buddhism, as I told you, is the Noble Eightfold Path. You see there. You see churches have a cross. When you go to a church, you will see a cross in front of it. When you come to a Buddhist temple, like the Uganda Buddhist temple, you see a wheel. In front of us, you see a wheel. That's the symbol of Buddhism, and that's what the Buddha taught. Now, that's by the way of the background of the Vesak Day. Now I'm going to talk about my theme today. My theme today, compassion in times of crisis. The Buddhist practices of healing our community. We are going to have a series of talks. We are going to have a workshop around similar themes like self-healing, Moringa from Dr. Patrick, whom I want to introduce you. Please stand up, Dr. Patrick. Dr. Patrick is from the United States. He journeyed all the way here. Thank you very much. He journeyed all the way from the United States along with Dr. Lee, whom you're going to see, where we are going to have what we call workshop. And they will have 4 panelists. Dr. Duke is going to be on a panel, and myself are going to be on a panel in a school in the afternoon session. So part of my session here is to talk briefly, compassion in times of crisis. In the world, we have so many different crises, many. We have environment crisis, we have what we call climate crisis, we have economic crisis, we have pollution, we have malnutrition, we have poverty, we have so many problems. We have now COVID disease. So how can we address those crises using Buddha's teaching of compassion? Compassion, when we define it according to Buddhism, it's the quality of the heart and the mind that quivers when it is faced with the suffering of others, including oneself. So the practice of compassion means we are going to respond, not react when we are faced with a lot of problems in the world. Now, As I told you, compassion is part of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is right thoughts, thought of non-cruelty. So in Buddhism, we need to practice compassion when we are faced with the suffering of ourselves, which is called self-compassion, and suffering of others. Now, in our community, what we do here at the Uganda Buddhist Center, we have created centers that can help us, that can help to relieve that suffering in the community. One of them is this meditation center. This meditation center is all about overcoming greed, hatred, delusion, and fear. So we practice meditation in order to overcome suffering. So that's one institute that you can see here that is responding to the crisis in the world, because we found out that most of the crises in the world are coming from the mental side. Okay, there are crises that come from the physical side when they cut trees, but mostly behind all this is the mind state that don't consider the interdependence of the nature or the environment with human beings. Sometimes here I ask people, do you see that we have two lungs? We have two lungs, two kinds of lungs. One is the internal lungs, another one is external lungs. Most people don't know that. This is basic biology. When we breathe in, what do? We breathe in what? When we breathe in, raise your hand. We breathe in what? Oxygen. Eh? We breathe in oxygen. Where do we get that oxygen? We don't get oxygen in the bell, from the bell. We get it from where? From the trees. So that means these trees are our external lungs. Why should we cut them? How can you cut your external lungs? You know? So most people, of course, they don't know that. So we have what we call internal lungs. You know them already. So for us, we know that we have to understand the environment and the human nature, all this kind of thing. So now, this is already an institution going on, the Uganda Buddhist Center. But also we have created what we call, sorry? A battery? Microphone. Okay, please. Okay, so now, it's okay, it's okay. Who owns this one? Was it here? Where was this? Who gave us this one? We don't know where it's going to fit. Leave it to him, please. He knows where. Okay, it's that simple. Now, part of the compassion is to practice meditation. When you practice meditation, you overcome suffering and you help other people to overcome suffering. So in Buddhism, we practice meditation. Those Noble Eightfold Paths that I told you, that's the best way to practice compassion, to heal the suffering in a community. So if you want to heal, this is the right place. If you feel the suffering, you have anger, you have confusion, you have fear, you have anxiety, you have all this kind of disease that come from the mind not being, that come from the mind being polluted. When the mind is polluted, it's always polluted by this mental defilement, greed, hatred, delusion. For that, we are very good. But of course, when there's depression, and you need to do a medical doctor, psychiatrist, those people you can see. But for us, we teach those we teach meditation in order to remove those pollutions, greed, hatred, delusion, and fear. Then that's part of our practice of compassion. Now, there's also a way we practice compassion here to overcome problems in society is poverty. Is always a crisis in the world. In poverty, then people have malnutrition and those this kind of things that come from poverty. So we have created the Women Empowerment Project. We have sewing machines, and people can learn skills in order to improve their economic status. So that's part of our compassion. So in Buddhism, we also recognize not only sitting here and meditate, but also we recognize how you can work very hard in order to overcome poverty. Malnutrition is connected to poverty. When you are poor, then that chances are that you are not going to eat a balanced meal, or you are not going to eat in time. So again, we feed people here, and we are going to teach you how to grow things like moringa and the other herbs, and how to take care of yourself so that you overcome poverty and malnutrition. All these kind of things, they're connected. So to that end, we have trained people here. We feed morning and lunch. So this is part of our program. Then we have also, part of the problem in the world is not understanding lack of education. If people lack of education, then they're going to be poor because they don't have education to study and get jobs and then buy food. So it's all connected. That's why we have also school. We have a preschool and a primary school to really educate people so that they get good education. That's part of our compassion in action to make sure that we address world problems and even heal our communities. Now, today, we are also going a step ahead to create a Buddha Medical Center. Buddha Medical Center, that's where we are going to help people heal, teach people alternative medicine to heal themselves. And Dr. Juko is alternative medicine doctor. Is going to be part of this workshop, so whereby we invite him from time to time and other doctors, and also Western medicine is going to be here so that we help people to heal, because diseases is part of the crisis in the world. Apart from that, we have public health here. Public health, we address it by making sure that people don't drink dirty water, so that people drink clean water. So for that matter, we have boreholes in different places in Uganda. So with that, I'd like to be very brief about Buddhist compassion in the times of crisis, Buddhist practices that heal our community. So with that, I'll end my talk, and they will say sadhu, 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 sadhu. Yeah. So now the next activity is going to be, we are going to go for lunch, and two speakers, they will continue to speak. So allow the novice monks to go for lunch. All right? So now I'm going to leave you with the two speakers here. Actually three. Dr. Juko, and where is Dr. Lee? I don't see him. I don't see her. So now, if you can divide your time, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, that would be very good. And Panchasila also, I think, can also talk, like 5 minutes. We can give you 5 minutes, because you come from India. That's where Buddhism started. So we can give you about 5 minutes, whatever the minutes. So we are going to have, it seems, 4 speakers. So I'm going to leave you with MC. MC is called Andrew, who is going to take care of this kind of thing. All right? So now, for us, we are going to have lunch. So, huh? Oh, okay, okay. No, I got it. Okay. So now, I've told you by the MC that our peace school children, they have some gifts they want to give me. You see, they are practicing generosity. Already, they are practicing generosity. They should come. They should. Okay. Okay, you say sadhu, sadhu. Now in Buddhism, you have to handle this to me. That's the way how you give. You have to bring them to me and handle them to me. 3. 3 of you bring and handle this to me. And then Chattaro Dhamma Vantante Ayuanos Kambala Sabamangara Kan Sabadevata Sababudan Bavena Sabadaman Bavena Sabasangan Bavena Sadasoti Bawantute. You say sadhu, 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 sadhu. Okay. Katimutwali. Okay. Mudema vega. Mimelekeo. Ate mitwala. Mugabulula. Mugabulula. Okay. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Chatarodama Wantante Ayuanus Kambala Sabamangara Kan Sabadevata Sababudan Bavena Sabadaman Bavena Sabasangan Bavena Sadasoti Bawantute. You say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Kali. Thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So now, I chanted them and blessed them like this. That one who gives food gives 4 dhammas. You give long life, you give beauty, you give happiness, and you give what we call strength. So that's what I chanted for you, that may you have long life. Because when I eat these bananas and I eat pineapples, I'm going to be healthy. So you are giving me long life. And also you are going to give me beauty because this is full of vitamins. So I'm going to look very beautiful. And also, not only external beauty, but also inside beauty. Now also these fruits that you've given me, they are going to give me happiness. They are going to give me happiness. When I eat this, I'm going to be happy and also will have strength, physical strength and spiritual strength. That's why I said that may you also have long life, those who have given me these gifts, and may you have beauty, may you have happiness, and may you have strength. You say sadhu, 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 sadhu. Okay, now I'm going to leave the MC and call the speakers. We have a podium there. We have a podium. If you don't want a podium, you can speak there, but you face the people you are speaking to. Okay, so we are going for lunch, and then Andrew will take over. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, now we are going for lunch. Over there. We're going, I think you will bring. Can I give you a things? Because there are so many now. I give you, we're going for lunch, and it's very, very important. That's a ceremonial lunch ceremony. This one also? Who's the owner of this? Should I get it, take it or? I can send it. Eh? No, you can give it to me when I'm there. When I'm there, we are getting food. You need to follow us. Okay. Okay.